Hi everyone, my name's Miss Wild and I'm going to be teaching you how to play your violins and violas over the next few weeks. Today we are just going to start with a quick introduction to the instrument, and we're going to take some of the knowledge that you've just learnt with Miss Bissell and we're going to apply it to our instrument so that after lesson 1 we're already playing some music, which is really exciting. So hopefully you've got your violin and your viola with you in its case. If you open your case you should see the instrument itself. Whether it's a violin or viola, it'll look just like this. And it'll have a bow as well. I'd like you to just leave the bow in the case. We're not going to be doing anything with the bow for the first week or two. We're just going to focus on the instrument itself. So as you can see, your violin and viola is shaped something like this. And as you will see on the PowerPoint, there are different sort of parts of the instrument to be familiar with. This part here is the chin rest. Funnily enough, it's where you rest your chin. And this bit here, these are the shoulders, and that's mainly where we're going to be holding the instrument while we're just getting used to it. This curly bit here is the scroll. You don't really need to know that much about it, it's just useful to know what it's called. Now, if you are playing a violin, your strings going from the thinnest to the thickest, so from right to left as you're looking at it like this, goes E, A, D, G. Maybe you can have a think about a rhyme or something that helps you to remember them. If you're playing the viola, it will look exactly the same. It's still 4 strings. The only difference is the letters that they are called. So it's a slightly lower pitch. It's a slightly bigger instrument, so it makes a lower sound. So we actually ignore the E and we start on an A, then go to D, then G, then C. So the first thing I'd like to do is teach you how to hold your violin and your viola. This is really, really important, especially when we get it back into the schools. If we all know these different positions of how to hold your instrument, then it's going to make us much more disciplined, and it's going to make it much safer to hold them without accidentally dropping them or anything like that. So you can see that I'm holding my violin with my left hand on the left shoulder. You don't need to worry about holding it around here, just on the left shoulder. You should be able to do that quite firmly without fear of dropping it, okay? And you're holding it with your left hand, which means you're resting it on your left knee. Left hand, left knee. That is position 1. We call it rest position when we're sitting down. Rest position. So if your teachers ever say to you, can you get into position 1 please? Left hand, left knee, straight away. Position 2, it's where we get our instrument ready as though we're about to play it. So what we need to do in order to get to position 2 is holding it the way you are in rest position, hold it out in front of you, hold it out pointing to the left, and I want you to slide it down your left ear, down the side of your face until it hits your shoulder. Now the reason we do that is because it's very, very easy, I see this all the time, for us to get a little bit, not lazy, but a little bit relaxed and hold our instrument at the front like this, because we like to be able to rest our arm against our body, and it means that everything gets dragged down. Now, not only is that just not the right way to hold it, it can lead to all sorts of pains and discomfort, which we're trying to avoid here. So let's get this right from the first time. Position 1, left hand on left knee, and then we want to point it out to the left hand side, put it on our head, slide it down our left ear until the bottom of your violin or viola hits your left shoulder. At that point, you can just turn your head until your chin rests on the chin rest. So 12 o'clock looking straight ahead, and then if we're counting backwards to 11 and 10, and it should mean that you can basically look down the fingerboard, this black strip here, towards the scroll. I mentioned the scroll earlier. So that, when you are looking at 10 o'clock, that is position 2. So let's just go through that. Position 1, getting ready for position 2, position 2. Now position 3 is when we are just ready to play. And now, because I told you to ignore your bow, we're going to be learning how to play using a technique called pizzicato. And that is a really posh Italian way of just saying plucking, and it just means we're going to be using our right hand, our fingers, to pluck the string instead of using our bow, just to start off with. So we go from position 1 to position 2, and then we're going to get our right hand this time, form an L like that, And then with our right thumb, we are just going to place that on the corner of our fingerboard, the right corner of our fingerboard. That leaves our first finger ready, and that will become the finger that we pluck the string with. Now when you are plucking, it should be just over the fingerboard there, because that's where the violin or the viola resonates the most. It allows the most amount of sort of vibration, so it makes a really nice rich sound. If you're doing it up here, it's just not as nice a sound, okay? So you can maybe experiment, but certainly we should all be playing over the fingerboard slightly. So show me position 1, left hand on left knee. Good, and then position 2, I should see you wearing your violin or viola as a hat, sliding it down the left hand side of your face until it's on your shoulder, and then pushing your head over to look down the violin or the viola towards the scroll at 10 o'clock. And then position 3, showing me your L's, getting your thumb on the corner of the fingerboard, and then your index finger over the fingerboard, ready to play. Very good, let's go back into position 1. Now that we know how to get into position 3, so our playing position, I want us to just get used to the sound that our instruments make. So we are going to go from our highest string, which is the one on the far right hand side. So if you're holding a violin, that is the E. If you're holding a viola, that is the A. And I would like us to just play each string once, going from right to left. So I'm playing a violin, so I'll show you what it's like for a violin first. So we're going to go after 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. E, A, D, G. And then we go back into rest position, position 1 straight away. Can you try that this time with me? Okay, listening really carefully, making sure you're playing each string just once, and making sure you are really saying the names of the notes as you're playing them so we can get used to these strings straight away. So position 2, position 3, starting on the E strings of the violins after 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. E, A, D, G. Back into rest position. Fantastic. Now violas. I don't have a viola with me, but I'm going to trust that you are very, very sensible and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you are going to do exactly the same thing, but you're going to start on your highest string, which is A. So we are going to go from A to D to G to C. Now I can play the first 3 strings with you, but I'm going to have to just play my imaginary C string at the bottom because I don't have one. Okay, so we should be in position 1 already. We go into position 2, position 3, and this time starting on, this is viola, starting on your highest string, which is the A, after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, D, G, C. And then into position 1. Fantastic, well done. Now that we understand how to hold our violins and violas, and we know what the different strings are called and how to play them pizzicato, so plucking, we're going to apply that to the Kodaly method that you have just learnt with Miss Bissell. On the screen you can see that you've got 3 coloured boxes. All of these are the rhythms that you've already looked at with Miss Bissell, so they should be fairly familiar. And we are going to take that knowledge and we are going to use it to play some rhythms on our violins and violas. So the first thing I would like you to do is just choose one of the boxes from the left. If you're feeling really uncomfortable with the Kodaly method still, then stick with the green box because we've done that lots. If you are feeling a little bit more adventurous, then move on to the yellow box in the middle. And if you're feeling really, really super confident, then you can skip straight to the red box at the bottom. So I'm going to assume that I'm just still getting used to the Kodaly method, and I'm just going to stick with the green box for now, just to give you an example. So I've chosen my box from the left, which is the green box. I'm now going to follow the practice routine that's set out at the top of this slide. So first thing I need to do is Kodaly the rhythm. So I can do that easily after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, ta, tu. Now that shows me that I really understand what that rhythm is. The next stage is to say the note. So for this to work, what I need to do is choose one of my 4 strings on the violin or viola to play this rhythm on. I'm going to go with the D string just because we haven't used it yet. And I'm this time, instead of saying the Kodaly sounds, I'm going to say the note D in the correct rhythm. So it should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, D, D. So again, I know what the rhythm is. I understand what the note is. The next stage is to say and pizzicato. Don't forget, pizzicato is where we pluck the string. So I'm going to say the note again, but this time plucking the D string. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, D, D. And then I've gone back into position 1. At that point, you can then try and play it without saying anything at all. So like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just so you can really focus on the sound that you are making. And then at that stage, you can try and play the rhythm on each string, and making sure that you say the name of the string as you play it, just so you're really starting to put together in your mind which string is called which letter. At that point, you can maybe challenge yourself by moving on to one of the more complicated rhythms, or simply spend a little bit more time just saying the names of the strings as you play them.